Yo, what is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new week, and with it, more locals feature matches. Here we are in round one for the week. We've got Phantom Knight DPE on the left versus Swordsoul on the right. My friend John on the left, my friend Colin on the right. Both players you guys have seen on the channel quite a few times in matches and in deck profiles, etc., etc. So we're going to see the die roll happen here, and it looks like Swordsoul winning the die roll, which is obviously very important for this particular matchup. And, yeah, the Phantom Knight deck on the left, no Brave Engine, no Scythe Lock, just good old PK with the DPE stuff. So, and as these guys get ready to start, let's take a look at the poll results. I asked you guys who you thought would win. Just shy of 2,000 votes here, and 63% of the vote going to Phantom Knight DPE, and the remainder going to Swordsoul. So let's see if you guys are correct. We're going to see Swordsoul lead with Mo Yi, then into Long Yun, and then we're going to see him synchro 10 into Baron to Floor here, and I think this is going to do a good job at playing around Nibiru, because one thing I see a lot of Swordsoul players do is they'll go like normal Mo Yi, spec token, synchro Chi Xiao, then spec Long Yun, then spec token, and then they get nibbed right there. This is probably one of those situations where, like, I mean, that might be a situation where, like, they don't have the Long Yun yet, or the discard they want for the Long Yun yet until after that stuff resolves, but much more safer way to play this out, so. And then we're going to see Ash here. I think Chainlink 1 Mo Yi, Chainlink 2 Chi Xiao there, which is interesting. You usually see it the other way around, so the Ash will get fired and the Chi Xiao might as well. Would rather Ash the search than a random draw. So we're going to see our Swordsoul player set one there and pass. Ash, unfortunately, not super high impact right now. Against, I would say, like, decks like Swordsoul. Like, it's a decent Ash if you can Ash at the right spot. Like, and, you know, they don't already have, like, a negate setup. Like, Ashing Helk's very good, but sometimes they might already have a Baron setup. Ashing Emergence is good, but sometimes they'll already have, again, they'll already have Baron setup, and you can't really have the opportunity to Ash anywhere. So we're going to see Droplet activated here, pitching Cloak and Stained Greaves. But Ash is also still just really good for simplified game states and just, like, being very good against still a wide range of decks. I guess it also hits the Brave Engine partially by being able to stop Enchantress, or stopping Fabled Adventure from being able to search things out like Griffin Rider. And now we're going to see an Ash of our Swordsoul player here, an Ash of his own on the Cloak. And that could be pretty devastating here, stopping him from getting to any sort of starter, like Torn Scales. And then we're going to see him resort to Plan B. Now that Ash has been baited, we can safely resolve that Fusion Destiny. To go ahead and dump the bricks, summon out the Enforcer. There's the Celestial, and there's the Dasher. And unfortunately, DPE is not going to do too much here going into a Chi Xiao and a Baron. I mean, well, they are dropleted, so I guess it will do a decent amount. Yeah, and they're also down by an additional 400 because of DPE's continuous leg effect, so that Baron is actually at 1100 instead of being at 15 by being halved normally by the droplet, so he'll take a little bit extra damage there. So 68 to 66. The Chi Xiao will get to survive the turn unless he chooses to DPE pop, which wouldn't be such a bad idea. Then also at the same time, you do make Tenyis live by being able to spec them just directly from the hand. It looks like he will attempt to use DPE here, and he's going to see a Ghost Ogre get chained. Ghost Ogre finding a lot of play right now, strictly just because of E-Telly, and, you know, especially in Swordsoul. You get the going second card access. It's an E-Telly target. Lets you Synchro 7, lets you make Synchro 10s for Baron with like some of your Tenyi plays. Lets you get into Helk because it's a tuner for some reason. And we'll see our Phantom Knight player pass there. DP coming back in the standby phase. Ghost Ogre not doing too much to stop it. We're going to see Chi Xiao activate its effect, banishing Long Yun to negate the DPE so it could run it over. Otherwise, it would have been at 24. And then battle phase, just attack over it for a couple hundred damage. And then DP effect. And then DP effect standby phase as he passes turn here. So things looking a little simplified here. Each player kind of struggling to find engine, and I guarantee the first one to find it will probably go ahead and win the game. We can guess that there's still probably a blackout in the back line there, just lurking. And we're going to see Chi-Jiao negate DPE. Probably in response to its effect. Because that DPE resolves, it's going to shut off the Chi-Jiao, at least force it. But more importantly, it will make sure the blackout is not live. I can't speak. And speaking of blackout, there it is. So normal Torrent Scales, spec out the Psychic Wielder off of the E-Telly. And yeah, that would have been a pretty good way to combo there to get into Cherubini. But of course, blackout will be able to stop it, leaving just the DPE. Celestial follow-up got to be coming pretty handy here, drawing into 2, drawing into a Nibiru and a Wings. So, I mean, it's not Engine, but it is a way to at least keep your opponent's ceiling down a little bit. They'll have to try to walk through a Nibiru here if they want to push any further. Swinging for 25, and he will go ahead and probably pass turn here. I don't think there's much he can do with just staying Greaves and Grave. I mean, he has Torrent Scales, but no way to trigger it, unfortunately. And let's see what kind of top deck our Swordsoul player can pull off here. Looks like we're going to see Wings get activated on the DPE. And we're going to see a Cosmic Cyclone get chained. Pretty good Cosmic there, because that can revive the Torrent Scales next turn. So you definitely want to burn a Cosmic on that immediately. Doesn't give him an extender to work with. There's E-Telly, and that's just going to go ahead and signal the end of the game. Yeah, because that's just going to be enough damage in battle phase, bringing out the Psychic Tracker at 1600. So we're into a game 2 situation. Sometimes just, you know, playing the beatdown, just attacking with big monsters is all you need. So, yeah, into game 2. Phantom Knight up 1 here. And as these guys get ready to start, I just want to remind you guys to check out the ways you can support the channel down in the description below, either by using my affiliate links to TCG Player, The Coldest Water, or by using my discount code WinnerKills10off at checkout when you're shopping on ImperiumDuelist.com. So yeah, no surprise to see Swordsoul going first again here in game 2. Speccing the Vishuda, linking into Monk, speccing the Adara, and going into Hulk. And really, really strong opening here. The Hulk engine gets them so much, especially if you can get into it with the 10E package. Because, again, you do not have to commit your normal summon. You get the desk bot. You get free access to Tai A via the Yazi, popping it with the Auroradon. Gives you so many options here right at the beginning of your combo. And, again, even if that Hulk eats any sort of hand trap and you have follow-up in hand, like any normal summon, Mo Yi, Ecclesia, etc., you're still in a pretty decent spot to possibly pull off just still standard Swordsoul combo. So, there's the Auroradon. There's the 3 tokens. Of course, Despot coming back to join them, like it always does. It's crazy how many times this combo has like made its way into meta decks over the past few years. All the tuners that have been axed, O-Lion, Jet Synchron, Glowbulb, and Deskbot 001 still manages to survive somehow. It does kind of amaze me a little bit. Also kind of amazes me how Hulk is also still legal. But yeah, I guess it'll just continue to be used and abused as time goes on. Either way, we're going to see him Synchro 7 into the Yazi, and Auroradon will tribute itself to go ahead and destroy a card in the field. It's going to destroy the Yazi. Yazi effect activating. And he will get to go ahead and summon a worm from the deck. Summoning out the Swordsoul of Tai. And we'll see him activate Tai's effect here soon enough, I'm sure. We're going to go ahead and banish a Swordsoul or a worm from the grave. We're going to banish the Vishuda. That's going to spec a token here. And then Synchro 8 into either a Boxia or a Chi-Jiao. We'll see which one he wants to go for. Boxia has its advantages by being able to revive stuff from the graveyard. And Chi-Jiao obviously can search. So we're going to see him go for the Boxia. Tai is going to activate here to send a worm or Swordsoul card to the grave. We'll see what he decides to dump here. Probably go for Ashina since he doesn't have access to that. Trying to think if there's a way he could possibly dump another Swordsoul monster and get it back with the Adara, but he needs to find a way to banish it first. Because that's a very cool play you can do with the Swordsoul deck, is like dump your Swordsoul cards to the grave, banish them by whatever means, and then you can go ahead and or you can just do that. Yazi or Baxia pop token, summon out the Mo Yi. Since it is a level 4 or lower. No effect of Mo Yi. Then we're going to see him now commit the normal summon into Ecclesia. And then we're going to see him Synchro 8 with Mo Yi and Ecclesia here for Chi-Jiao. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 1 Chi-Jiao, Chainlink 2 Mo Yi this time. I don't know why in Game 1 he decided to go the other way around and have his Chi-Jiao get ashed. I see a copy of Vessel in the hand as well. Vessel's a card that I know a lot of people like have mixed feelings on. At least I know some of the people that I've talked to. I know some people that love Vessel. I know some people that don't like Vessel. But yeah, we're going to see him go ahead and add the Blackout. So just Boxy a Chi-Jiao here. You'd think with an opening like that, maybe he'd have something a little bit better. But set 3 is also pretty good. Yeah. Where you lack in monsters, you're going to make up for in back row here. We do know that they can side in some floodgates, specifically like Macrocosmos and Standby Phase. There is Anti-Spell Fragrance. There's a red reboot. All right, so opening up pretty strong here in terms of going second cards, paying half life points immediately. Very easy decision to make here. And he's going to go ahead and set a Macrocosmos from the deck. Speaking of floodgates, there it is. And imagine a Blackout's probably set. We can also imagine there's probably an Imperm of some kind set, like all just generic good stuff traps. And flipping that Anti-Spell back down. Red Reboot, man. Such a strong card. And also Harpy's Feather Duster to follow that up. What a good 2-card combo. 3-card combo into Tour Guide. Must be nice. Opening up pretty insane here. All depends on what those last couple cards in hand are if he wants to be able to keep going here. I know there's an Ash in the hand of our Swordsoul player. And ashing here could either be a good or a bad thing. If he has any Psychic monster in hand to keep going. If he has E-Telly to keep going. That's 5 cards in the deck that he could possibly have that would allow him to keep playing past an Ash Blossom here. So we're going to see the Graph get summoned. And then we're going to see him link 2 into the Cherubini Graph effect. That, of course, is going to go ahead and summon out the Seer. So he's getting a little bit ahead in his combo, because a lot of times we'll see the Cherubini have to dump the Graph, then get the Seer. But if you can start with the Tour Guide, you get a free send here, essentially off the Cherubini to get access to Phantom Knight Engine. So we're going to see him dump the Gloves, and that can go ahead and dump another card to the grave. Especially will pair well with the Rusty Bardiche we know he's going to go into next. And then we're going to see Seer activate. Actually, we're not going to see Seer activate. Oh yeah, so this is something I remembered them telling me about. So our Phantom Knight player here, unfortunately and regrettably so, forgot to bring back the Seer. Or not to bring back the Seer, but to activate Seer effect to bring back Cherubini here. And the Rusty's still getting ashed. Now, with the current state of the board, I don't really know how much of a difference it's going to make, the fact that Cherubini is on the field or not. I mean, granted, it could make a difference here because, well, he could dump. Well, it all depends on what he wants to go ahead and dump with the Gloves here. Yeah, so he's going to dump Boots, and then Boots is going to add Fog Blade. So I was going to say he could have possibly dumped Cloak, and then Cloak Search Boots, Spec Boots, and then link the Cherubini and the Boots into Anaconda. So we could have gotten access to Anaconda there if I'm thinking about that correctly. And then we're going to see him pass turn here, setting on just 2 back row. And then our Swordsoul players are going to top deck. Kind of nice there into Emergence. Going to go ahead and grab Taie. And he's got plenty of stuff in the graveyard to be able to go ahead and banish here. And knows one of the set is Fog Blade, other being unknown. And now he's going to go ahead and commit the normal summon to Taie. Activate Taie effect. Banishing Blackout is huge because that means he's going to get 2 tokens here. So I'm to synchro off with 1 and then leave the other on board to be able to allow him to use Tennies if he has them in the grave. And yeah, that's a bit of an unfortunate misplay, but it happens. Especially when you know, you're in the heat of the moment. Things get a little too sped up. You don't take the time to slow down a little bit. And also just in general, just people just forget things. It is what it is. I know it happens to me a lot when you're playing and you've been playing for a few hours. You tend to just forget things, especially in testing. And we're going to see him go ahead into another Taie here. Or not another Taie, another Chi-Jiao rather. Chainlink 1, Chi-Jiao, Chainlink 2, Taie. And we're going to see him add a Long Yun, or no, Chainlink 1 Taie, Chainlink 2 Chi-Jiao here, adding Long Yun, dumping at Hara. Possibly dumping Adhara. Looking like maybe not Adhara. Possibly. Yes. Maybe so. Maybe. Yes. No. Maybe. Checking the grave. Checking the grave. Because he does have an Adhara banished. So you could possibly do something with that token, but he'd get worm locked anyways if he decided to use the Ashina. But he could dump another Adhara to add back to give just basically free discard fodder for Longyun, so that's what I'm thinking here. So he will decide to dump Adhara. And now he's going to use Boxia, targeting the token and the Adhara in the grave, popping that. And now he can go ahead and possibly Synchro 9 here into a Chao Feng, and this is going to turn off any light monsters. So Nibiru is out of the question. There's Longyun ditching the Vishuda. And then we're going to see him activate Vishuda before he synchros while he has that token on field to bounce one of the back rows back, and that is going to be game. Probably going to be just an OTK there. So Swordsoul bringing it back here, tying it up 1 game apiece. Game 3, Phantom Knights going first, leading with Tour Guide Kagamucha into Graph. Really strong opening here. And chain blocking that Tour Guide is very, very strong. So we're going to go ahead and see him link into the Cherubini, activate the Graph here. I also see a copy of Lancia, Reboot, and Ash in the opening hand for our Swordsoul player. So he opened up kind of insane here, at least from what I can see in terms of going second cards. I'm debating on whether or not he wants this Graph to resolve. Thinking that maybe opening Turikage, if he hits the Graph early, it could be a very good hindrance to their combo. Looks like he will go ahead and decide to fire that off here. Now he's going to go ahead and activate Cherubini, paying cost, seeing exactly what level 3 he wants to go ahead and send. Of course, if he sees a Phantom Knight card hit to the grave, he'll probably go ahead and fire that Lancia. So yeah, we're going to see him dump the gloves. And now we're going to see on resolution the Lancia. And now he can go into either Anaconda for DPE, or he could go into Rusty to dump another Phantom Knight, possibly just for follow-up for next turn, get access to a Fog Blade. I think going for the Anaconda probably seems a little bit better. So we're going to see him pay 2,000, dump the bricks to summon out the Enforcer. Getting that Celestial follow-up ready for a future turn. And yeah, Ash Lancia, pretty huge. Pretty huge there. So now we're going to see him bring out the Enforcer. And one of the sets we can imagine is probably a Fog Blade. Yeah. Or it could be a Droplet. Or it could be a Judgment, since this is game 3 and side decks are involved here. So yeah, we'll see how our Swordsoul player is going to navigate it. Also, it really doesn't matter, just because like he has Red Reboot in hand. His opponent had Red Reboot game 2, and now the luck has shifted back to his favor to draw that one of. And we're gonna see him lead with Vishuda, such a strong opener. Vishuda is like one of the best going second cards in the deck. It forces out so much, linking it off into the Monk. And he has access to just like try to out the Enforcer here immediately. Out the back row here if you would like. Mid-match Earthquake. Sorry about that. Sometimes I can't control how much people interact with the table on the other side of it. Also, we have a new mat that the Konami sent our OTS store. The giant like Jaden mat with the Armed Dragon level 10 on it. Pretty cool. So we've been using that for our feature matches now. And looks like Vishuda will activate here, and you will chain the DPE just so it doesn't get bounced. Normal Tae, going to banish the Monk. And linking now, or not linking, Synchro into the Chi-Zhao here probably. Or he could go for something like Berserker. All really depends. He's going to go for Chi-Zhao here. I think it's going to be Chainlink 1, yeah, Chainlink 1, Tae, Chainlink 2, Chi-Zhao. So we'll opt to go ahead and not chain block the Chi-Zhao search here. So he's going to go ahead and send an Ashina, and we'll see what he decides to add off the Chi-Zhao. He's already committed his normal here, so we wouldn't be too surprised to see him add Longyun. But he's going to go ahead and add the Emergence instead. And at this point, if you wanted to head, well, you can't use Ashina currently, but I was gonna say it would worm lock him. He might not have too much left to do this turn. I see E-Telly actually. So yeah, the E-Telly is gonna allow him to do a lot here in main phase 2. Going into the battle phase here to try to force out a possible Fog Blade. You know, just kind of see what that last back row is if he can get his opponent to bite. And he will. It's just a wings. So at this point, really doesn't have to worry about too much. Nothing on field that can interrupt him. The only thing he'd have to worry about are hand traps here. And I see 2 copies of Tour Guide in my friend John's hands. Very unfortunate. And we're going to see him E-Tally out Gamma. And could go for a Synchro 10 here, but probably rather go for Halka Fibrax and do your classic Desk Bot combo since it's still in the main deck. And even if you drew it, wouldn't matter because it's summoned from hand too. So going to go ahead and activate Hulk, and that's going to go ahead and special summon out the Desk Bot. We'll see him go ahead into the Auroradon, into the tokens, into the Yazi, etc., etc. Using Chi-Jiao just as a bit of a mid-combo searcher, if you will. Doesn't really care about keeping that body on field too much, since probably go ahead and make a much better board here. And now that he's resolved the Desk Bot and the Auroradon, doesn't probably care too much about getting worm locked, but he will go ahead and actually synchro into Herald first before worm locking so he can get access to that negate, specking out the Adara, and then going ahead and synchro 7 into Yazi. So this is going to help him stop Nibiru now if his opponent does have Nibiru if he didn't already want to use it. Yazi effect to destroy itself, and the Predator Plant, since the wings only protects it 1 time, and that was used up in the battle phase. And then we're going to see him activate the Adara to add back Ashina. Moe is going to spec one, or spec a token after being summoned off the Yazi, going into Draco Berserker here, and drawing a card off of the Moe. And there's the Emergence coming in clutch now that was added way earlier in the combo. That's going to go ahead and grab out the Long Yun. And then pitching the Ashina, going for a level 10 synchro play into the Grand Duke, and burning 12. I don't think our PK player is going to be able to come back from this because he's got an Omni Negate and he can banish pretty much a lot of cards whenever he feels like it. That combination of Berserker and Grand Duke is pretty insane. Red Reboot set in the back row. So Tour Guide's going to get normal summon here, attempt to resolve. It's going to get negated by that Herald of the Arc Light. And yeah, not much you can do there. Top decking Shade Brigadine. Unfortunate. Swordsoul taking that one 2-1. Looks like you guys were incorrect this time around by a pretty decent margin. And if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Tweeter0226, Pony Start, Cadillacs84, Keith Sidgers, and Black Ninja Money. Thank you guys so much as always for your extremely generous support of the channel.